given 30 days by Radhika to prepare for my talk. And everyone asked me, what do you know about midlife or women in midlife? I mean, both those questions were asked of me when I spoke to people. So, anyway, I'll take you through my 30-day journey from then to now. I've kind of divided into 6 parts. The first and the last are sort of my gut feel, my own relationship with this topic of midlife, how I thought about it then, and how I thought about it now. In the middle four are all a bit rational and logical reflections, talking to people, figuring out. So those 4 parts really framing the problem. What does it mean for me? Thinking about it, analyzing it, coming up with a framework. I'm an MBA. We all come with framework, and then next steps. We all have to act. So this is how my talk is divided. So the first point is when I thought of midlife for myself, what did it mean to me? So there were two sort of answers that had happened to me in the past, related to that. So because for me, you can only find the mean when you know the end, and I don't know the end. So the first answer came in when we were doing a walk with a bunch of friends, and someone just asked a question saying, "What if Yamraj shows up and says we gotta go? What will you do?" Basically, it's a bucket list question, and people had all kinds of questions. And I said, I'll ask him, "Do you still use a Bhans or have you upgraded to a BMW? Let's go, buddy." So that was one sort of answer that I had. There's another answer, which I mostly give to my friends and colleagues when I go for my reunion, 30 years, 35 years, whatever. They tell me, "You guys are so unfit. You're all going to die before me. I need to make friends 20, 30 years younger." So I think I've had both these beliefs in my head that I can live forever or I can die now. And I have been pretty comfortable with it. So that was my own reflection on the past of what has already happened. So that was my initial starting point of what midlife meant to me. And then I said, for the purpose of this talk, what can I do? We are data people. We have to collect data, make insights out of it. Usually they say you should have 30 data points. I had only 3. My grandmother, my mother, and my wife. Those are the only 3 women that I could say that I knew very well. And I thought, let me make a model based on these 3 data points. I don't have any more, so let's do that. Now, when I started thinking about this topic, I thought maybe I can make this model, use it for myself, me and my wife, and my 2 daughters, 25 and 21, and hopefully this will work for me. So this was more of a personal journey to say, what can I learn thanks to this talk, which I can apply to myself in my life? So it's always good to make it personal and make it useful, because then, you can do it, even if no one else believes in it. Now, what I thought about, it actually is a 100-year story. My grandmother was born in the 20s, my mom in the late 40s, wife in the 70s, daughters in the 90s, and so on. So it was quite fascinating the moment I started thinking about it, that I'm going to be thinking about a 100-year story. It's not apples and oranges. So let's think of the context, how the context has evolved in those 100 years. A couple of thoughts that came to mind, want to share with you, because it's important to know what has been happening. Antibiotics, penicillin was discovered in the 20s. I didn't think of it that way. I mean, women used to die during childbirth. Kids used to die, as infants. So they had penicillin. So that was when my grandmother was born. So that was her time. My mother's time, contraceptives were discovered, or invented, and that gave women agency. So you didn't have to have so many kids. Now, in my daughter's age, they are talking about freezing their eggs. So if you think about the medical advances, it has had implications on life expectancy and agency for women. So it's good to keep in mind when we talk about my mother, grandmother, and my wife and my daughters as we go along. And I thought it's good to put that perspective out there. My grandmom. We were a large joint family. My grandfather was a senior person in the railways. We used to live near Connaught Place in the railway houses and so on. So good, well-off family. But we never thought of my grandmom as a person. I don't think we ever thought what she ate, whether she was sleeping well, whether she was always the caregiver. I still remember, I think she died in 65 or something, which was, I think, more than the average life expectancy at that time. But I don't think none of us ever felt about her and what she was thinking, doing whatever. Nothing wrong, nothing right. I think that was the time. Grandfather was always busy. All of us were almost dependent on her. She was the caregiver. Come to my mom. I think things were better. Dad also, had a decent job and lots of help. But I don't think we ever again thought of mom as someone that we should think about her health, her life, so on and so forth. She was the caregiver again. Uh, they live in Noida. Dad is very caring. Mom is not as fit as her, but that was their life. Talking about my wife, when she had her hysterectomy operation in Manipal Hospital, I was called that you have to also stay there for 2-3 days. My wife later told me, "You met the doctor for the first time after the operation." I was going to her with my friends or on my own and not before. So it was a revelation. And it looks like a lot of times uh, whether it is menstruation or menopause. Some of these things are not necessarily openly discussed in home, right? Now I have two daughters, of course, they talk about these things in the office also, but not everyone, some of them. So I think conversations on these topics are still taboo, and we don't even realize it. So that is something that I realized. So I thought, what can I learn from all of these experiences? What does well-being and fitness mean for all of us? Frankly, I came up with a framework. That framework sounds nice also, and kind of made an acronym out of it. We all MBAs make acronyms. So it's called FREE. Free is very nice, right? You want to break free. A lot of talks were all about getting free. So free is a framework which I think applies both to men and women. But as we go along, talk about each of them, we'll realize that the women probably need to apply it even more, because for men it probably comes naturally. So F stands for finance, financial freedom, earning and investing both. So I have two daughters. Both of them are working. They stay at home. We try to make them do SIP or something in investing. Now we are pushing both of them to say do an MBA, get to a higher earning level. This is not good enough. You're just a graduate. So something that we are doing. But when I spoke to a lot of my friends during this last 1 month, I figured out a lot of women, even from great institutes, IIMs, many of them didn't know what their salary was, saving was, because somehow inadvertently they had given away the right to invest to someone else in the family, whether it was the daddy or someone else in the family and so on. So finance was not really well understood, and many a time, they were not worried what was the salary they were making, what was the last increment, some of that. So finance, even in the most educated, I found, was not necessarily a given. For boys it was almost a given. So F is very critical to remember, and I think women need to be doing that more than others. R is a complicated one, and R is really relationship with you, who you are, what you stand for, and we have been talking a lot about what you are. So to me, R really represents your own agency. So there's a study a friend of mine, again in one of these conversations, told me that when women start off, they have an identity crisis because the identity is derived. You're a daughter or a wife or someone else. You're not yourself. So at a young age, you have a derived identity. So when you meet middle age in your office, you have a belief crisis. Can I do it? And then you get to an advanced stage, senior level, you have an ambition crisis. Do I really need to do it? I'm already 50. So I think that study at least tried to say that if you don't build identity upfront from a young age, you will suffer other crises. And these are some studies that have been done. So I think figuring out who you are, and how do you figure out who you are? I think experimentation, exercising your agency in anything, at home, any decision being taken, in office, anything being taken. Many a time, because women are juggling so many things, they tend to focus on a few things and tend to neglect many others. And therefore, that identity development, that experimentation that Maria talked about, does not really happen. So I think that R is very, very critical to continue to figure out who am I? What do I stand for? And that's what really is the source of identity. The E is really eating, exercising, sleeping, all the physiological aspects. And many times, we'll see my mothers and many other women in our family. They will sacrifice their food for someone else. Okay, you eat it, beta, or whatever. Exercise never crosses many people's mind, and sleeping sometimes gets missed out as well. So I think this is so critical that if you don't have these basics, how can anything else happen? And the last is really enabling. And enabling is both ways. You are an enabler, that comes naturally to you, but do you get yourself enabled? In office, having mentors; at home, having friends, maybe if you're a working woman, some homemaker friends who can help you. So I think investing in those relationships both in office and at home, what goes by the name of networking, doesn't naturally happen to a lot of women. It happens very much to a lot of men. So I think having that ecosystem allows people to do that. So when I thought of this free framework, I said, yeah, it applies to me, it applies to anyone, but I think for women more so. And then I thought, what about as a family? We think of this free as a goal statement, as we do in office, that what, this is our family goal. All of us need to be free. So where is Pragya on it? Where is Ritu in that? Where is Pragya and me? And as a family, can we figure out as a team to say, okay, I'm good at running and marathon. I'll take the exercise part. Ritu can take the nutrition part. We don't know financing. We can get an investment advisor. So I think if you think about all of these aspects, things that you can be good at, you can take the lead. You can be the Spock in the family. Things that someone else can take the lead, let them be. Or you can hire help. You have gym trainers today. You have nutritionists. You have wealth managers. So I am kind of thinking that, I've already told my wife that let's do a family offsite. We will discuss this free framework for us this year and see where do we land, and can we apply it more often and more intentionally. Because I also think that family as a product, I'm a product management guy as well, is not reinventing itself. And we see the product failing in many places. So can we create a mechanism, as we do in product management, to take feedback, add new features, and evolve it the way we would like to be, versus how it has been imposed on us by the society at large, and it has just been going on. So that's the intention that I have now got in my family, to say, Can we as a family evolve that product? Can we empower my two daughters to also think about it as they go along, find their partners if they have to, and again continue to evolve themselves with an equal discussion? And I think the discussion is key. These are a lot of things are taboo and so on and so forth. So right now, that is the framework that I'm going to apply. I want to end with again two sort of visual imagery in my mind about what does this mean to me now. This whole idea. So I think again for me, midlife, the imagery for myself is Sanjay Dutt in Munna Bhai. You know, just jadoo ki chappi, be in the moment. That's the imagery for me now. And for the women in my family, the imagery is the DDLJ, Ja Simran, ji le apni zindagi. So go get free. Thank you.